So let's continue our conversation on President Biden's big speech tonight, State of the Union address with Democratic Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett. She represents the U.S. Virgin Islands Congressional District. You may remember from the impeachment committee. Congresswoman Plaskett, thanks very much for being with us. And I want to just ask you, it is a big night for President Biden. We've been talking about the difficulties he's got, given that in our ABC News poll, 41% of Americans tell us they are worse off financially than they were when Joe Biden became president. So what do you want to hear from the president? What can he say to people who are still struggling with inflation and with a tough economy?
Sure. While we're aware that the economic growth is up, inflation is down, wages are up, jobs are continuing to grow, and gas prices are down, there are Americans who still continue to feel disenchanted, not affected by it, and without hope. And this is an opportunity for our president to share the tremendous work that he's been doing. Listen, our economy is in a better place. The growth has been monumental. But that doesn't mean that every American feels it, and we're keenly aware of that. And we're working to make sure that that happens through the legislation that has been passed in the last 2 years and the work that needs to be done. I think you're going to hear President Biden talk about finishing the job that he began. And how do we get the unprecedented funding and support, whether it's bringing jobs back to America and the Compete and the CHIPS Act, bringing additional infrastructure projects throughout this country through the bipartisan infrastructure plan, or many of the other tremendous bipartisan legislation that he's been able to done, how to get those on the ground to American people so that they can feel better, so that their possibility of growth can extend.
People will be looking for that. I'm standing out here as the police cars come by. But let me ask you, the State of the Union is a moment where the president can present certain issues, highlight certain issues. And I understand that Democrats many Democrats planning to wear pins highlighting the police reform issue. They're showing the year 1870. This I did not know. I learned this today. Lawmakers are telling us that this refers to the first known instance of a police officer in America killing an unarmed free black person in the U.S. So what changes should be made? What can be made given the political realities around this?
Sure. Well, as a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, we were very pleased that the president was willing to sit down with us and talk about how do we continue to extend police reform? How do we continue to give good police officers the tools that they need to combat crime and to thwart bad police officers? I come from a multi-generation law enforcement family. My father was a New York City police officer, my grandfather police officer, uncles, cousins, and they will tell you over and over again that one thing every good cop hates is a bad cop. And so we're going to try and push the president to talk during the State of the Union about what he can do through executive order to create national databases, to reward those police officers and those police departments that are doing the right thing, and to push in a bipartisan manner for there to be reform, systemic changes in policing in the United States. As we saw in the latest police incident with the death of a young, unarmed black man, from the immediacy of the police stopping him, they immediately reached into the car and began an aggressive assault on him for what we've learned was not any reason for probable cause for a stop of his car to begin with. And so the reform of policing needs to take place in this country so that everyone can feel safe in this country when they go out about their business supporting their families.
Absolutely. And polls show that there is public opinion moving in that direction. I want to ask you, Representative Plaskett, about one more thing. The House Democrats have chosen you to be the party's top member and really the leader of the counter-argument on this new committee that's been set up by Republicans in the House. They're sweeping investigation of what they call the weaponization of the federal government, a top priority for the GOP. They want to look into the investigations of Donald Trump. You were part of as I said, of the impeachment committee. What can you do on that committee, the Weaponization of Government Committee, which is, definitely has an agenda to pursue?
Sure. Well, first of all, Democrats are concerned with the everyday issues. As you recall, the GOP Republicans ran on inflation reduction, on increasing jobs, on doing tax reform. In the last month that they've been in office, they haven't addressed any of those issues. What they've been concerned with is oversight, probes, conspiracy theories. I intend to lead my Democratic colleagues as a truth squad to make sure that the truth is told, but also to reach out to Chair Jordan and find areas where we can agree. As we've seen, we're so grateful to the news for reporting and breaking the story on the FBI official, Durham, who was potentially involved with Russians, and as well on Bill Barr and utilizing his position as Attorney General to weaponize other areas of the Justice Department in support of Donald Trump. So where there's areas that we can work together, we're happy to do it, but we intend to continually point to the truth of the American people and try and bring back those issues that Americans are most concerned with. As you said, jobs, economic growth, supporting and safety for their families and health.
All right, well, that sounds like it's going to be an interesting committee. We wish you luck on it.
We're ready for it.
Representative Stacey Plaskett, I'll bet you are. Thanks very much for being with us. And we should say that we did reach out to a Republican congressman. She wasn't able at the last minute to join us, but we thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.